welcome to another powerful conversation with another powerful, delightful woman. I'm delighted to be joined today by Kalli. Kalli, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, what you're all about.
Hi, I'm Kalli and I am a yoga teacher. I am newly qualified, and I say that, but I have actually been teaching for over a year. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey getting to this point, but exciting.
Tell us a bit about what that journey looked like. When did you, or how did you come across the idea of being a yoga teacher?
So I started doing prenatal yoga when I was pregnant with my eldest son. So he's 14 now.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time just being absolutely in love with the whole world of yoga. So I found it so peaceful. It really helped with my pregnancy. And I remember at that time thinking, oh, I'd love to do this as a job. Like, it's so lovely. You like give so much back to people. And so, yeah, so that was 13 years before I'd started training.
Yeah.
And then we moved country twice. And it was just a case of, do you know what? It was a lot of imposter syndrome, I guess, where I kind of thought, I don't look like a yoga teacher, which is ridiculous. And then it was kind of during the pandemic that I got really, I had really bad anxiety, and I felt like I was trapped in my own body.
Mm.
And the only thing that really helped me was yoga and meditation, and just finding that peacefulness within myself. And it was just really, that was a turning point for me when I decided, who cares what I look like? And there'll be people like me who look like me who would appreciate going to a class with someone who's not tiny and very lithe and very flexible, and they'll feel more comfortable in a situation where they can identify with the yoga teacher. So I started training in 2022 and finished my training in December, but I have been teaching for over a year now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I know when we spoke last time, we spoke about that whole, not feeling like you fit the mold of a yoga teacher, because I did the British Wheel of Yoga Teachers Foundation. I don't know, like in the early noughties, so quite a while back, and I was always the most inflexible in the class. I mean, I relatively slim, but always the one that struggled to literally touch the floor with my legs straight. And I think that really did put me off wanting to be a yoga teacher, because I thought, well, that it just, I can't, I could do a headstand eventually and a handstand, but I was like, but if I can't fold myself in half, then that's not what, so I really love it. I absolutely love it that you're willing to just say to that, and I'm just going to inspire everybody that everybody could do it, because yoga's so much more about how flexible you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I always laugh when people contact me and they'll literally, the first thing they say is, I'm not flexible. And I'm like, I don't expect you to be flexible. Like, and especially as a beginner, like, it's your first class, give yourself some grace. Like, I would be amazed if you came into your first class and you were flexible. I mean, and I find it like, I have another job as well. So I sit at my desk a lot. And if I step up from my desk, it absolutely makes a difference. Like, I can feel it in my hips. Like, I can feel it in the back of my legs. Like, everything tightens up when you're sitting at a desk. I feel it in my shoulders. So I'm like, if you've never done yoga before and you come to a class, I don't expect you to be anything that you aren't.
No. It's the same with I haven't actually done yoga for a few years. I think I probably did too much of it, needed a space from it, probably in favor of meditation. But I run quite a lot now, and that's like the worst thing for flexibility. It just, like, all of my already tight muscles are even tighter now. The ground is so much further away. It's
Yeah, it's
hilarious.
definitely, and I think that's it, is that actually you can be really fit, but you might not be able to do yoga
Yeah,
because it's just using different muscles.
yeah,
Um, but actually what I love is the people who come into class and are really busy people, um, really sporty people. So I have a lady who comes in who's a tennis player, and she's like, I'm really fit as a tennis player, but I'm really like tight and like not flexible. And I think she gets quite a lot out of it because it's that kind of release of any kind of tension in the body, which is just really lovely.
yeah, yeah, I completely agree. Just going back to, you mentioned about having imposter syndrome and moving countries and all these sorts of things that got in the way of you sort of making that decision to train. What was it that finally made you take the decision to train? And I ask because I think there's lots of women, people out there who believe that they can't change their career and do something different, and that they're too old to learn something new, or what will people think of them, all these sorts of things. So I'm really interested in your answer to that question, if you have
Yeah.
one.
I'm not sure actually. I don't remember the actual turning point. Um, I don't actually remember. I think it was just a case of it was something that I loved for such a long time, and I was like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah,
I know I did some coaching with a lady, and funnily enough, when I was doing the coaching, it was a completely different. I kind of imagined that I'd be growing my other business.
yeah,
And so it was really bizarre because it was just totally different.
yeah. So how does it feel now that you've kind of, I mean, I hear in what you're saying that the yoga is a passion, something that lights you up, and you're a way of giving back. How does that make you feel within yourself and within your life compared to how it was before when you were doing your other business or other work?
Well, I'm definitely more relaxed. I'm definitely calmer. Um, do you know what? It's a case of when I wake up in the morning, I feel excited about teaching.
Mm,
Um, because I know that it helps the people who are in my class. Um, so I can see when they walk in, they're really stressed out, really kind of either battling from the day or the week or whatever. And then kind of seeing that dissolve out of them during class is just really special. Um, so I don't know if that answered your question.
yeah, I mean, I suppose it's I just had that sense that it's the passion, it's the um you have joy for what you're doing, and you're giving something back, and giving something back and seeing that being expressed on somebody else is one of the biggest gifts for ourselves, but also for society, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Where do you how do you see your business or your yoga practice evolving over the next, say, 6 to 12 months, or even 5 years? Where do you see it going next?
Well, so I've been really kind of looking into, so I've realized, so I started kind of when I was doing yoga, I started with hatha, like that was where I started. So hatha's kind of slow paced. It's kind of available to everyone because you're not moving in and out of positions quickly. Um, and so I kind of did that was how I started because I was doing pregnancy yoga. And then I fell into vinyasa and like faster moving stuff, more high energy, and I enjoyed it. But I started, so when I signed up for my training, it was through a company in London, a really well-known company. And unfortunately, they lost money and they had to close down before we started training. So I'd paid all of my money, taken money out of our mortgage to pay for my training, and it all kind of fell apart. And that was a vinyasa school. And I was like, I was heartbroken, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
I'd invested a lot of my energy into it. Like, and also I kind of was like, oh my goodness, is this a sign? Like, am I not supposed to train as a yoga teacher? Like,
Yeah.
he's kind of going, no, it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took that as a bit of a personal hit at the time. And then a really lovely lady reached out to me on Facebook, and she said that she would like offer me a really good rate to do this training through her. And that was up in like north of London. So it was quite a journey. I think it was like an hour and a half, like every month for 6 months type of thing, plus then online training. And I remember thinking, okay, this is like almost someone's just gifted me this opportunity. Like, I can't not take it. Like, it's a
Yeah.
really good opportunity. And she's a hatha she teaches hatha.
Yeah.
And so it kind of was almost full circle.
Yeah.
So I trained in hatha, and it's really strange because, and obviously because of my anxiety, it's really beautiful because it really encouraged me to slow down and find that relaxation. And my favorite part of class is the relaxation. Like,
Yeah.
so I absolutely love teaching the poses and I get joy out of teaching the poses. But I've started moving more towards that side. So more like meditation. So I'm training in meditation at the moment. I really love the idea of doing sound therapy.
Yeah.
Just finding that peaceful moment for people. So I think my wellness business is definitely moving more towards relaxation, taking time out of your busy schedules, and just kind of finding time for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I only recently, over the last year, had experienced my first sound bath. And wow, that was really something else. Just the
Yeah.
sounds, just so beautiful. And then just feeling those sounds washing over your body at different frequencies was, yeah, just such an incredible experience. And I really hear you on that. I think we all rush around trying to do too much. And it's really healing when we stop and literally do nothing.
Yeah.
So hard to do, so hard to do, but definitely so worth it when we do.
Yeah. I think you're exactly like, I remember going to my first sound bath and just being like, no, like this is totally woo woo. Like, no, it's just not going to work. And I say that as someone who absolutely loves music. Like,
Yeah.
I trained in music when I was a child. Like, I absolutely adore music. And it's something like the minute I walk into the house, music comes on. Like, the minute I get into my car, music comes on. And actually, funnily enough, the first time I went, it kind of reminded me of like whale song almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the ocean. Like, the sounds of the ocean just make me happy. So I remember just like almost going on this like really beautiful kind of wavy journey. And it was
Yeah.
just so special that I was like, I love this. I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Never want to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah. I feel like I have a what I would consider even to be slightly even more extreme joy in this space is kirtan, the
Oh,
yogic
yeah.
chanting, which I've been sort of come into and out of my life quite a lot for the last maybe 17 years or so. And I'm so excited because I don't know if you've heard of Deva Premal. Um,
Yeah.
she really has the voice of an angel, and she's in London
Oh,
this
cool.
weekend. So I'm seeing her live tomorrow. And I know that when I'm sort of enveloped in this lovely, I think it's at the Union Chapel in Islington, when I'm enveloped by all this sound of the chanting and people are doing it around me, I know that it's going to be a really emotional experience. So I'm so excited about that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is slightly. My eldest is coming with me, and I was explaining to her this morning. I was like, we're not going to be able to understand the singing because it's kind of in Sanskrit type thing, and yeah, it's all like chanting, and she's like, it's going to be interesting. But I think it's good that she's open to new experiences.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
How old is she?
She'll be 16 soon.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, it'll
So
be
it's
really
not quite
interesting.
young for that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's nice that she's open to new experiences like that. I think that's
Yeah.
really important. Then she can make her own choices. I'm not going to force any of my weird and wonderful passions onto her choice. But
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to go back to, you were talking about how the vinyasa course didn't happen and you lost that money on it, and this other opportunity presented itself. What sorts of beliefs or explanations do you have around that? Do you have any?
I very strongly believe in things happening for a reason.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, and I said this to my yoga group, my girls, I was like, I feel like it was the right thing to happen. And it's obviously as sad as it is to lose money, like it's
Yeah.
really not ideal. And there was a lot of stress, and it was literally just around Christmas time. So I think it was like the day before Christmas. And so I was heartbroken. I was like, oh my goodness, like I've literally taken money out of my children's mouths and like for
Yeah.
this passion that's just not happening. And then I met the new girls, the girls that I now call my yoga girls, and they are like angels on earth. Like they are the people that I was meant to meet.
Yeah.
I'm still in contact with most of them. I'm actually seeing them on Saturday. We're going to the yoga show together. And so, yeah, it's just, I've kind of got that community that I needed.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, sad that it didn't happen, but I do believe in things happening for a reason, and
Yeah.
one door closing and another one opening. Like,
Yeah.
and just kind of trusting the process. It's sometimes really scary.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, you kind of can't control what's going to happen. You just kind of got to ride the wave and hope for the best.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I think what's interesting is, I mean, I suspect that because of the sort of headspace you're in, because you do yoga and that sort of being able to calm yourself down and everything, that your response might have been different. But some people would carry the stress of that sort of situation around in their bodies for years, the bitterness, and that just causes so many problems when we get into that negative spiral of things. Whereas seeing it as you are, as a gift, and that it was supposed to be like that, and you have all these beautiful friendships from it, is just so much healthier perspective to have, which is really inspiring.
Thank you. I mean, it wasn't always like that, obviously. Like in
No.
the beginning, there was a lot of bitterness and anger and frustration, I think, more than anything. And that's it, like the yogic principles. And like I always say this to people, because I've had incidents where I haven't been able to like use religious spaces because they think that I'm going to come in and indoctrinate their people. And obviously that's not what I have in mind. Like I just want to teach something that I find deeply relaxing and deeply peaceful. And also like the yogic beliefs are like a set of morals. And I think that it's not a bad thing to
Yeah.
look at other religions, to look at other beliefs and see what people are doing and kind of incorporate all things. So we had to do a task during our training where we had to focus on one of the yamas and the niyamas. And I chose a parigraha, which is non-grasping. And with that, it was letting go of
Yeah.
things you basically can't control, things
Yeah.
that like allowing for forgiveness. And so for a month, we had to kind of create to kind of release things that weren't meant to be, like things that aren't
Yeah.
part of what we can control. And so I did a lot of work on that course specifically to kind of just go, I can't, there's nothing I can do about it. It's done.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to get the money back, and that's fine. Like it's just kind of like I don't necessarily, because of the yoga world, like we've kind of got to the point now where I don't really believe in karma as such, because it's obviously karma in yoga is very different to what people classify as karma, like the wheels of good luck or whatever. So yeah, I think just releasing that kind of
Yeah.
allowed me to move beyond that anger and frustration.
Yeah. And I was saying on the, because I teach an 8-week mindfulness course, and we were going through the 7 attitudes of mindfulness. One of those is letting go, and there's also the non-attachment, etc.
Mm.
And I was explaining to my students just last week that conceptually these attitudes or precepts or foundations are easy to understand. You can read what letting go means. You can, from the words, you can understand what it means, but actually living it is a completely different experience. And it's not something that just comes, you flick on a switch and suddenly you're able to let go of everything. It is like a gradual unfurling of things, and you don't even realize what you need to let go of. You don't know that you're holding on to something.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. And I just think it's which leads on to that, the other one on patience is you have to be patient and let all of these things happen in their own time, and people will let go when they're ready to. But I mean, I think all of these beliefs and foundations in yoga and meditation are, I don't even see why there needs to be any sort of religious subjection to it, because they're just beliefs that decent humans can live by.
Yeah, absolutely. And like my kind of motto in life is to be kind. Like that's the way I live my life is, and I know it sounds a bit like maybe a bit corny because it's like be kind, but like that's how I live my life. I
Yeah.
honestly do. I'm like, if I can't show kindness towards someone, then I'm a failure in a way. Like not like obviously I'm not a failure, but like but just it's so easy to be kind to people. Like
Yeah.
I don't, I really battle with the concept of like people being unkind. I
Yeah.
really like it, really kind of, it's so confusing to me because I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my only way that, and this has only been in the last year or so, that I've been able to get my head around that side of it more, has been that if somebody is unkind, then I now more instinctively see them through the lens of compassion and
Mm.
empathy. That their inability to be kind is because their frame of reference is skewed somehow, and
Yeah.
it actually, and then I feel kind of like deep hurt inside that another human being is walking around with this really heavy frame of reference that
Yeah.
they didn't choose to have put in front of their lives, but that is there, and they don't even know that it is there. And I find that yeah, it really touches me. And I suppose that's where my passion comes from, is that imagine if everybody could let go of these beliefs and frames of references and just be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that solve most of the world's problems?
I mean, this is a whole different podcast we could talk about, but yeah,
It
I
really is.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I really do. Like I was thinking about it this morning, actually, before I got out of bed. And I was just like, why can't people just be kind to each other? Like I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Um, And as you say, like, it would be we'd be so much more peaceful and calm and loving. And I think that's it. Like, if you can live your life with, and I know again it's going to sound like, and this is it, like, I don't believe it is corny, like I really do believe this, like if you can live your life with love in your heart for everyone, and unconditional love until it gets to the point that like they've really offended you or something, and then you just
Yeah.
walk away from it. But
Yeah.
if you can really show like everyone love,
Yeah.
then why wouldn't you? It's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
as you say, like you don't know what other people are going, and it's that, I think it's that saying that says like, be kind to everyone because you don't know what's going on in other people's lives or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I'm definitely paraphrasing that,
Yeah.
but it's just, it's so true. Like the amount of people that I have who come to class and I don't know what's happened in their days, but I
Yeah.
can see that their energy's dipped, or I can see that there's something playing in their minds, and I'm not going to ask them because it's not my place to ask. But
Yeah.
equally, if I can show them some love and kindness during that hour that we're together,
Yeah.
hopefully that'll kind of release something and they'll be able to then go back into their lives dealing with whatever fires they're trying to put out from a place of love and a
Yeah.
place of kindness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the challenge is that often it takes quite a lot for people to realize that it's very easy to say, oh, it's not about me, it's about someone else. But the reality is that it's always about you. Any response you have to anybody else is always about you, not about them. But it's really confronting to face that and then be prepared to do something about it. But we'll get there. We'll get there with with our missions to help people one person at a time. We will get there.
Absolutely. Can only
Yeah.
hope. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think the thing is, like, the world is so much more open to like mindfulness and
Yeah.
meditation and like helping yourself. And I think that's really powerful because as you say, like you can't control someone else. Like I said, my sister and I have these conversations often, and I'm like, you can't change someone else. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can change yourself
Yeah.
and you can work to make yourself better, but like you can't change someone else's opinions,
No.
someone else's actions. Like it just
No.
doesn't work like that.
No, I agree. I agree. What a wonderful conversation. So before we finish, tell us how people can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, how they could even attend some of your wonderful classes.
So I am on Instagram and Facebook at This Little Yogini.
Yeah.
And I have a website, which is also thislittleYogini.co.uk. And yeah, and I love a chat, as you I'm sure can realize. So you're very welcome to reach out to me. We can chat about yoga or anything that we've mentioned in this podcast.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It's been really lovely.
Yeah, it's been an absolute joy. I love what you're doing. So
Thank you.
yeah, and maybe there's more conversations to be had in the future.
Oh, I hope so.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kalli, so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Keep well.